Welcome to New Light Living. See your life in a new light. I'm your host, Ulrika Sullivan, and I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach, and also I am a yoga teacher. Do you know someone that's into yoga? Or maybe you're curious about yoga yourself. Or maybe you are already a devoted yogi. The likelihood you have come in contact with yoga in some way is high because yoga is definitely something that more and more people are getting into at this time. I have a great show for you today, building on last week's topic about morning routines. Today's topic is your guide to yoga when creating a new daily routine. And if you listened last week to last week's show, you know that I talked about how powerful an energy shift in the morning can be. And I gave you some tools to create that energy shift to start off your morning a bit differently than you may do today. And today we're going to add to this concept of morning routines and talk about yoga. And the good news here is that wherever you are in your journey, it may be time now for you to start learning more and maybe even incorporate and include yoga in your morning routine. And I want to give you a little disclaimer up front here is that I'm in this show, I don't intend to review all styles of yoga that may be available to you, but rather offer you some of my personal reflections, experiences, and recommendations of some yoga styles out there that you may have been curious about. And I want to give you some realistic ways that you can maybe get started with it. If you missed last week's show where I talk about the power of having a morning routine, you may want to go back and check that show out, as I may refer to some things from last week as well. And for those who joined my 5-day meditation program from last week, let me know in the Facebook group, New Light Living Podcast Community, what your experience is with the meditations. I would love to know. I left a link in this show, the show notes of this show as well. If you missed to join last week, this program is still available for you. All right, so let's dive into today's show. Why do you think yoga is on the radar for so many people these days? Yoga is not just exercise. It's a way to get to know yourself better, getting to know your body and mind in a deeper way. And as people, we move towards wanting more than just physical exercise. And as more and more people are getting into it, there's always an entry point to yoga for everyone. So first, let me be clear here. There are some big myths that I often come across as a yoga teacher. And I want to mention it here because it prevents people from trying yoga. And I want you to, if you're curious about it at this time in your life, I want to help you over that of actually getting into it and learn more about it. Well, here's the truth. You don't have to be flexible to do yoga. And you don't have to be spiritual or know all the Sanskrit words for poses or chants that are sometimes used in yoga. But what you will be, you may become flexible and you may become spiritual when you do yoga and practice yoga, but it's not a prerequisite. Yoga is another door opener for you to get to know yourself better, get to know your body better, and become more self-aware. And yoga can help you connect to your true self and what you truly need to balance body and mind as you evolve as a person. And does that sound great? And as I said, I've noticed that many feel whatever exercise they're doing, physical exercise currently, that it's not enough. A lot of people want something deeper at this time. And if we pick up and connect with where we ended last week's show, where I gave you some tips on how you can make that energy shift emotionally in the morning, Now, you may want to do the same energy shift for your body. And yoga is great for that. So let me ask you, do you do some form of exercise in the morning? And if so, how do you feel about it? Does what you do currently contribute to feelings of ease and flow? Or does your exercise routine, let's say, contribute to more stress in your life subconsciously? You may feel good in the moment, but let's take a step back. How do you feel about the current exercise routine that you may have in the morning? The reason I'm asking is that many people who I work with, and often it's women, do exercise in the morning, but they start the day with a very rigorous, fast-paced workout routine. And some classes, start at 5 a.m. or even earlier. And in my own personal experience with workouts in the morning is that it's only contributing to more stress. That's how I felt about it when I used to exercise in the morning and I went right to a very fast-paced routine. So on the other hand, some people and women also that I work with do not exercise at all in the morning, but are still looking for a way to feel better in their body. So the burning question here is, what does your body need in the morning? Because it's so easy, and I'm sure you've done this as well, it's so easy to go with what you've always done, old preferences, but what we've always done may not serve you anymore. So this is where yoga comes in. Yoga has the capacity to help us discover what we need as a being, not only from a physical perspective, but from a body-mind perspective. So I used to be one of those, as I said earlier, who ran right into the shower doing no exercise in the morning at all. I was one of those. And I was just so absorbed in what I needed to do that day instead of tuning into how my body was feeling that day. All I knew was that I didn't like the way no exercise in the morning made me feel. So check in with yourself. How do you feel in your body in the morning? What is your body telling you about what you need? And I as I promised in last week's show, that I would share some more information about my own morning routine that I practice today. And if you recall, I shared that I always start my day off with a guided meditation. And because that makes me feel connected with my true self. And that's how I want to start off my day. I want to feel connected with my true self, and I just want to be. I don't want to do, I just want to be. And most days after meditation, I do energy exercises that balances my own inner energy and that brings my inner energy in balance. And then I do a couple of gentle yoga movements to check in with my body in the morning. I'm tuning in, checking out what the body needs. Nothing rushed, nothing rigorous. And I feel that my body is thanking me for it. I always thought that exercise that benefits the body had to be fast, with the heart pumping for an hour, or otherwise it wouldn't be beneficial for me or the body. And what I've realized is it's the opposite. The more I can tune into my body in the morning and what the body is telling me, the more in balance I will be with my life, with what I'm doing for work, in my relationships throughout the day. So what the body is thanking me for is that my body focus in the morning is all about what my body needs today. Maybe I notice that I'm a little tight in the shoulder. Maybe I notice that my lower back feels tight. And that's what yoga is for. to help you get body aware and connect you with your mind and help you release stagnant energy that you may have built up. Now, if you are new to yoga and you feel you don't have time to get started, I have created a little very easy yoga practice for you. I've put a link in the show notes here to a video where I show you 3 short yoga exercises you can actually even do at your desk, seated. So it's like the easiest thing to start. And I want you to check that out. If you're new to yoga, this is the great way to start. The first one, and I'll tell you a little about this video that you have access to. The first one is what I call a neck roll. And the second one is a side stretch. And the third one is a seated forward fold. And all of these can be done sitting in your bed or on the floor or on a chair. You can even do it at work. So check out the show notes for more details on how to try these gentle yoga moves. And you maybe even want to start small and incorporate them in your morning routine. And so let's go back to this question. Have you thought of what your body needs? Is it the same type of exercise the way you always have done it? Or maybe you're ready to feel into what your body needs now. Sometimes it's also so easy to just go with what others are doing. But notice how you feel and how your body feels. So if you're curious about yoga, I'd love to give you some brief insights on a couple of ways you can get introduced to yoga. My intention with this and the show is to give you the confidence to consider trying any of these yoga styles and maybe start including them, one of them, a little nugget from what I'm going to tell you next in your daily routine. And it doesn't have to be your morning routine, but some kind of regular practice. And I'd love to know what questions you have about yoga. What are your questions about yoga? Let's post your questions in the Facebook group, the New Light Living Podcast Community Facebook group. All right, so you ready? Okay, so if you're with me here, and stay with me here, because what I'm gonna go over next are the 4 ways you can practice yoga. And as I said in the beginning, I'm not intending to review everything that's out there, but just a few personal experiences and that I've come across. So I'd like to start with desk yoga because I'm very passionate about making it easy. Bring in the ease in our day. And desk yoga is what you're going to see in the video I attached below. Desk yoga is a great way to start tapping into yoga in just 10 minutes at your desk, at work, or at home. And it makes such a difference because what you do, you connect the movement with breath and some powerful movements through inhales and exhales, and boom, you feel energized. Something that I want to share with you is that I experienced myself as very beneficial between meetings or coaching sessions, and I use it today and during my day. I have a link to this short video in the show notes that you can watch, and if you feel curious about desk yoga. I've also put the link in the blog post that I'm releasing this week for easy access. Now I want to move on to, if you feel ready to get down on the mat, on the yoga mat, I recommend any form of vinyasa yoga, which is really a flow of poses that you do in a sequence. And as you do moving through these poses, you move with breath. And this is the yoga style that I teach most of the time. And it's really versatile because you can do a really slow vinyasa flow or a powerful, fast-paced sequence, depending on what your body needs that day. So in the vinyasa yoga practice, you really gain great body breath awareness along with strength and flexibility. How does that sound? So vinyasa yoga. And another style that I love to practice and teach is yin yoga. This is the slowest form of yoga, and you're practicing it down on the floor only. So you sit on your yoga mat or lie down, and yin yoga is a great way to release stagnant energy in the body. And the poses are held for a longer period of time, maybe 3 to 5 minutes each. So it allows time for reflection and really tuning into your body, connecting with your body. And it's also used with breath so that you can allow that connection to happen and release stagnant energy. Now, the last style I wanted to mention here today is Kundalini yoga. And that's a very powerful practice, energy-based, and especially when you're going through a personal transformation, any kind of personal change. I love to use a Kundalini yoga practice as a boost, as an amplifier. And I love it mostly for its mantras and chants, because you're working with your inner energy in a multi-dimensional way. Kundalini yoga really helps you to connect to your own inner power and energy in the body. So which one of these yoga styles do you think you'd like to try? You may already practice some of these styles, and this may have inspired you to try something new that aligns better with who you are now. So that was a very quick mention of these multiple ways of practicing yoga that I love. And you may be curious how you can step into a practice for yourself. So therefore, I'd love to share a few tips, what to think about when incorporating and including yoga in your daily routine. The best way to start, if you want to introduce yoga or even, thinking about trying yoga, is to set an intention for what it is that you wish yoga is going to help you with. And that intention will help guide you to the right practice for you. So of course, there's different ways to seek out yoga teacher that you feel comfortable with. And that can take a little while because you really want to feel comfortable with a person teaching you. But most important part is to try different classes, different teachers, and listen to how you feel as you practice and afterwards. What style speaks to you, and take it from there. Next tip is really to start small. Take baby steps. Start with 10 minutes at home, or bring a friend to a class. Go together. That's how I started. I went with a friend for the first time to a yoga studio. I had no idea what to expect. But after a couple of classes, I was hooked. And this was now more than 15 years ago. So if you feel you don't want to go to a yoga studio and try classes, there are thousands of classes online to try. And that can also take a little while to swift through, but give yourself some time. Give yourself some patience with this, because yoga is something that becomes better and better and better and more beneficial and valuable to you as you practice. So ask yourself, do you think you'll enjoy the practice at home or together with others in a yoga studio the best? And if you don't know, try both and see. You may just want to toss out your intention to some friends, and you'll be surprised what comes back in terms of recommendations and connections and so on. The last tip here is to view yoga as a lifelong learning experience. And why do I say that? Because yoga practice can't be finished. It's a journey. And it's so important to listen every day to what you need instead of going with what's most popular or what your friends are doing. If you feel you want some more personal guidance to find the right practice for you and how you can include it in your daily morning routine or daily routine, go to newlightliving.com and navigate to the contact page on my website. Send me a note from there and I'll help you. I'll help you navigate to what's right for you. With this show and last week's show, this is a focused spotlight on morning routines and daily routines that I have spent with you on the past 2 shows. Because there's a reason I'm so focused on these routines. And sometimes I don't like the word routine really, but I like the word practice better, but you know what I mean. The reason I'm so focused on these daily routines, it's that through shifting your habits, your patterns, shifting them for the long term, that's where the change happens. It's in the little things. It's in the subtle things. It's in the daily observation of yourself, noticing what your intuition is telling you and what your intuition is telling you, what is right for you, what feels good. Noticing what the body is telling you, all those little signals and signs that you receive every day. That's where change happens. And that's how you can make changes that lasts and becomes your new self-love support system. It all comes from you. And it starts today, right? For you. Does it start today? You are in that perfect place right now where you are open to change. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this show. And it starts with creating that supportive, nurturing routine that you love. And that's going to take you to the next level. And if you want personalized guidance and coaching on creating a morning routine that fits you and your needs, head over to newlightliving.com and navigate to the coaching page and submit your application there, and let's chat and get started. If you haven't joined the private Facebook group, New Light Living Podcast Community yet, head over to Facebook and join us there for more inspiration and like-minded connections. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I can't wait to be here, right here with you next week again. See your life in a new light. Trust the process. Do the work.